Revelation chapter 6. Here we go. Okay, so we jump into a little bit different part. So I want to kind of give you an overview here. For the last two chapters, we've been in heaven. The scroll was opened by God and then handed to Jesus, who was the one who has the ability to judge and rule the world. So now we come down out of heaven. We come down to the rebel planet. We come down to earth. Disobedience is worse. People are rebellious. They have invented new ways to sin and to be terrible. And so the book of Revelation breaks judgments down into three principal types of judgments. You have the sealed judgments, the trumpet judgments, and the vial judgments. The sealed judgments are when the world is ruined by man. And some of the commentaries that I read, one of the guys says the chief difference is that the church will be gone. We know after chapter 3 that the church is not mentioned in the book of Revelation again until the very, very end. People ask me all the time, well, are you a pre-rapture guy? Are you a post-rapture, a mid-rapture? There's all kind of fancy language. I tell people, look, I'm a pan-tribulation. I'm a pan-millennialist, meaning it's all going to pan out. I'm not really sure. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to walk through this with you, is so that I could learn even more what God says to us through a book of Revelation. So the sealed judgments. Then we get into the trumpet judgments. That's when the world is ruled by Satan. And the vial judgments, that's when the world is rescued by God. And the wrath of God is revealed from heaven. So, Revelation chapter 6 says this. Oh, let me scroll back up here. Revelation chapter 6, verse 1. As I watched, the Lamb broke the first of the seven seals. Remember, each one of these seals is a judgment. And he says, he heard a voice from the four living beings. This was the cherubim or the angels with all of the eyes on their wings. I shouldn't say angels. We don't know exactly what they are. John's going to unpack that for us in a bit later. And he said, I heard one of the four living beings saying with a voice loud like thunder, he said, "Come." And I looked up and I saw a white horse. Now, the white horse says that the war will be won without bloodshed. Think of kind of like a Cold War. And he's standing there. His rider is carrying a bow. A bow is something that's used to shoot long distance. And a crown was placed on his head, suggesting that whatever he is endeavoring to do, he will be victorious in. And he rode out to win many battles and gain the victory. So this rider personifies one of the things in the last days. One of the factors in the equation of the last days is to undermine the world and prepare it for God's final judgment. I'm reading some from a commentary to you here. He is all victorious, and he wins his victories relatively peacefully. He represents the blasphemous philosophies of the last days, those anti-Christian ideologies that prepare men's minds for the devil's gospel and the ultimate reception of the strong delusion. And so here the writer is giving, I think, is giving those ideas that undermine faith and trust in Christianity and gets many people to kind of turn away and to go and to do their own thing. And so then the Lamb broke the second seal, and I heard the same thing. Then another horse appeared, a red one. It was given a mighty sword, the authority to take peace from the earth. Basically, he's going to come and bring war like we have never seen on this planet before. Verse 5 says, "And the Lamb came and broke the third seal, and I heard the living being say, 'Come.' Saw a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales. Then I heard a voice from among the four saying, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. The luxuries of the rich were left untouched, but the staples are going to cost a day's pay. There's going to be inflation. There's going to be famine. This symbolizes the blighted prosperity of the last days. It represents war and famine and economic disaster. Verse 7 says, "Then the Lamb broke the fourth seal, and I heard the fourth living being say, 'Come.' His rider was named Death, and his companion was the grave." So war and famine continue, and then there's a new thing that's introduced into the scene, and that is pestilence, disease, wild animals. Again, one of the books I'm reading, Exploring Revelation, was written in 1974, and he talks about diseases and the use of biological and virus-based pandemics. And listen to what he says at page 105. It says the ingredients for this visitation of judgment are already present, and it needs just the right mix of circumstances to touch off the disasters described in the fourth seal. Verse 9 continues on. Then the Lamb broke the fifth seal. I saw under the altar the souls of all who had been martyred for the word of God and for being faithful to their testimony. So here's the fifth seal. There's not a actual horseman of the apocalypse, so to speak, with the fifth seal. But we see the martyrs who are under the altar. They're here near the heart of God. They want to be avenged. And Jesus says, it's almost time. I've just got a few more that are yet to join you. And then down in verse 12, he says, I watched as the Lamb broke the sixth seal. So here's the last one, right? Or here's the last one in this chapter. Seventh seal comes 2 chapters later, chapter 8. But I watched as the Lamb broke the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake. So there's going to be lots of cause for panic. The topography of the earth is going to change. The weather, all of these things are going to become radically different. There was a great earthquake. The sun became dark. The moon became red. The stars of the sky fell. The sky was rolled up like a scroll, and all the mountains and the islands were moved. Everything is going to change. It's going to be radically different, and it causes panic. It causes complete panic. Look, the kings of the earth, the rulers, the generals, the wealthy, the powerful, and every slave and free person, they all hid themselves because the wrath and the judgment of God is so incredibly strong. God is not playing. He says here in verse 16, and they cried out to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of the one who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Even these folks who are here in this, under the breaking of this sixth seal, see Jesus as the Lamb who is now acting like the Lion of the tribe of Judah. This is what Revelation chapter 6 says to us. Choose you this day who you'll serve. Remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. I'll see you tomorrow for chapter 7.